Hi, guys. I'm so excited. Today we are reading Caps for Sale, a tale of a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. Whoa, look at that peddler. That's who he is. He has so many caps on his head. Once there was a peddler who sold caps. But he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of blue caps. Oops, then a bunch of. So let me start that again. First, he had his own checked cap, then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, then a bunch of blue caps, and then on the very top, he had a bunch of red caps. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight as to not upset his caps. He went along and called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." One morning he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the street and walked down the street, calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody even wanted a red cap. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," he said, and he walked out of town slowly, slowly, as to not to upset his caps. He walked for a long, long time. That until he came to a great big tree. You see the tree? That's a nice place for a rest, he thought. And he sat down very slowly under the tree and leaned back little by little against the tree trunk so as to not to disturb the caps on his head. Then he put up his hand to feel that they were straight. First his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, then the red caps on the very, very top. They were all there. So he went to sleep. He slept for a very long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. Wait a minute. What do you notice about the picture? Where did all of his caps go? He only has his checked cap. Oh no. Before he stood up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were all there, in the right place. But all he felt was his own checked cap. He looked to the right of him. No caps. He looked to the left of him. He looked behind him. No caps. And he even looked behind the tree. Where did they go? Then he looked up into the tree, and what do you think he saw? On every branch sat a monkey, and on every monkey was a gray, or a brown, or a blue, or a red cap. What do you think the monkeys did during his nap? You think they came down and took the hats? I think they did. The peddler looked at the monkeys, and the monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. Everyone take out your finger. You monkeys, you, he said, shaking his fingers at them. You give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook their finger right back at him and said, He did not ask very nicely, and they just did the same thing right back at him. This made the peddler angry. Can you show me your angry face? So the peddler shook both his hands and said, You monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only shook both their hands back at him and said, This does not seem to be working. Now he felt quite angry. He stomped his feet. All right, friends, let me see. You monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys only stopped their feet back at him and said, Oh no, they're not giving them back. By this time, the peddler was really very, very angry. He shouted, he stamped both his feet and shouted, You monkeys, you give me back my caps. But the monkeys copied. They stamped both of their feet and shouted back at him. They said. At last he became so angry that he pulled off his own cap and threw it to the ground and began to walk away. He was so frustrated he had given up. So he took his cap and threw it to the floor. But then each monkey pulled off his cap and they threw them to the floor too. And all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down out of the tree. So the peddler picked up all his caps and put them back on his head. First, his own checked cap, then the gray caps, then the brown caps, then the blue caps, and on the very top, the red caps. And slowly he walked back to town, calling, Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. The end. I hope you guys like this book. It's a book from a very long time ago. It's many, many people's favorite, so I hope maybe it becomes one of your favorites. And you can always play with caps at home or hats, and you can go around and say, Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. Have fun. Bye, guys.